Hey guys, welcome back again. It's Miss Cáceres. So, just like every class, we will begin with our heading, objective, and I can statement. Remember to put your name, be it your first and last name or your complete name, the date, grade, and section as your heading. Now, our objective for today's class is to analyze and write simple, compound, and complex sentences. Our I can statement is I can recognize and write different types of sentences. Now remember, if you need more time to write this down in your notebook, you can always rewind or pause the video. So if we go to our textbooks, we'll see that we have our language conventions. We no longer call it English class or grammar class. It's called language conventions. So the first part of our language conventions for today is sentence structure. You will learn about types of sentences and how to use punctuation between clauses. A simple sentence contains one main clause, as in, she was still inside. A compound sentence has two independent clauses. An example of this is, the doors were jammed, comma, and he returned to the surface for air, period. A complex sentence combines an independent clause with a subordinate clause. The sentence in the blackness water continued to lap at Scoot's chin is an example of a complex sentence. As you read Rogue Wave, note the types of sentences the author uses to express ideas and how the punctuation makes the meanings clearer. So I have a little slide presentation so we can go into it a little deeper. Sentence structure, sentence types. There are 4 different types of sentence types. You have simple sentence, compound sentence, complex sentence, and compound complex sentence. Now, the basic elements of every sentence contains a subject and a predicate. The subject is the person, thing, place, animal, or idea that you're talking about, and the predicate begins where the verb is. Now, here's another example of the basic elements. For example, if the sentence were to be Mary plays tennis, the subject would be Mary and the predicate would be plays tennis. Simple sentence. A simple sentence has one subject and one predicate. Observe how a simple sentence is constructed. We went to San Juan yesterday. Now, if we were to break this sentence into parts, you would see that our subject is a pronoun, we, which makes it a simple subject. Our verb is went, and our complete predicate is to San Juan. Now, since our predicate contains the word to, that makes it a prepositional phrase. So, back to the original simple sentence, Mary plays tennis, you have one subject, which is Mary, and one predicate, which is plays tennis. Now, in another look of a simple sentence, if we were to say, Tom and Mary play tennis, that means that you have a compound subject. In this case, Tom and Mary. Here is another way of looking at it. A simple sentence. Tom and Mary play tennis and swim. So now you have a compound subject, which is Tom and Mary, and a compound predicate, which is play tennis and swim. Simple sentences with a compound subject. Tom and Mary play tennis. A simple sentence with a compound subject and a compound predicate. Tom and Mary play tennis and swim. Now let's take a look at a compound sentence. A compound sentence has more than one part that can stand alone. It is also known as an independent clause. If you guys remember when we did our review for a diagnostic test, we talked about independent clauses and subordinate clauses. Independent clauses are connected by coordinating conjunctions, conjunctive adverbs, or a semicolon. Here is an example of a compound sentence. We went to San Juan, comma, and most of us danced all night, period. Now, if we break down this compound sentence, you will see that our subject is we, your verb would be went, to San Juan would be your predicate and also a prepositional phrase because of the to that goes in the predicate. The other part of the sentence, comma, and most of us danced all night. Your coordinating conjunction would be and. Another subject would be most of us. Your second verb would be danced. And danced all night would be your second predicate, which also makes the word all night a modifying phrase. Compound sentence, use of coordinating conjunctions. Compound sentence, Tom swims, comma, and Mary plays tennis. Here you have a list of coordinating conjunctions that you will find in your compound sentences. For, and, nor, but, or, yet, and so. A simple way to remember this is taking the first letter of each one of your conjunctions and turning it into a word or phrase. In this case, if you take the F, A, N, B, O, Y, and S, you get the term fanboys, which is an easier way for you to remember your coordinating conjunctions. Compound sentence with coordinating conjunctions. Tom swims, comma, and Mary plays tennis. Clause 1 and clause 2 are both independent. Compound sentence with coordinating conjunctions. Tom swims, comma, and Mary plays tennis. As you can see, and is in yellow. The comma before and in a compound sentence is very important. Compound sentence with conjunctive adverbs. Moreover, however, otherwise, and therefore. Here is an example with a compound sentence containing a conjunctive adverb. Bob is handsome, semicolon, moreover, comma, he is rich. As you can see, the semicolon, which is the dot and a comma, are in yellow. So is your conjunctive adverb, moreover, and we also have the comma after the conjunctive adverb. Clause 1 is independent and clause 2 is independent as well. Compound sentence, still with the conjunctive adverb, moreover. Take a note, the semicolon before the conjunctive adverb and comma after a conjunctive adverb. Conjunctive adverbs can sometimes float. Conjunctive adverbs are sometimes called floating adverbs because they can be positioned at the beginning, comma, in the middle, comma, or at the end of a clause. The conjunctive adverb at the beginning, in the middle, or at the end. Here is an example with the same sentence with a floating conjunctive adverb. Bob is handsome, semicolon, moreover, comma, he is rich. Bob is handsome, semicolon, he is, comma, moreover, comma, rich. Bob is handsome, semicolon, he is rich, comma, moreover. Just a reminder of semicolons. If the relationship between the ideas expressed in the main clauses is very close and obvious without a conjunction, you can separate the clauses with a semicolon. Now, compound sentence, semicolon. Tom has benefited from his exercise program, semicolon. He is slim and energetic. Let's talk about complex sentences. A complex sentence has at least two parts, one that can stand alone and another one that cannot. The part that cannot stand alone is linked to the rest of the sentence by a subordinating conjunction. Here is an example of a complex sentence. Since my boyfriend and I wanted to have fun, comma, we went to San Juan yesterday. Breaking down the sentence, since is your subordinating conjunction. We is your subject. Went to San Juan yesterday would be your predicate. Now, if you take a look at this, the sentence, since we wanted to have fun, is the part that cannot stand alone. So that would be what we know as a subordinate clause or a dependent clause. Complex sentence using even though. Bob, even though is popular, he is ugly. Sorry, I read that wrong. I'm going to reiterate it. Bob is popular even though he is ugly. So, complex sentences have what we know as subordinating conjunctions. The most common subordinating conjunctions are after, although, as, because, before, how, if, once, since, than, that, though, till, until, when, where, whether, and while. Now remember, if you guys want to take notes on this, you just have to rewind the video or pause it in that part. Complex sentence with an example using a subordinating conjunction. Bob is popular even though he is ugly. So clause 1 is an independent clause, but clause 2, where your subordinating conjunction begins, would be a dependent clause, which means that it cannot act on its own. Here is the same sentence, but with a different order. Even though Bob is ugly, comma, he is popular. Clause 1 is still dependent, and clause 2 would be independent. Finally, compound complex sentence. This type of sentence has more than one part that can stand alone and at least one that cannot. Conjunctions link the different parts of this sentence. Compound complex sentence example. Since we wanted to have fun, comma, my boyfriend and I went to San Juan yesterday, comma, and we danced all night. See how important those commas are, guys? Now, if we break down this compound complex sentence, since is your subordinating conjunction. And again, since we wanted to have fun would be what we know as a subordinate clause or a dependent clause because it cannot stand alone. My boyfriend and I went to San Juan. My boyfriend and I would be your subject. Went to San Juan would be your predicate. And we danced all night. And is your coordinating conjunction. And your predicate would be we danced all night. So as you can see, a compound complex sentence has every single part of the other types of sentences. Here are some more examples of compound complex sentences. Mike is popular because he is good looking, but he is not very happy. So, exercises. Say if the following sentences are simple, compound, complex, or compound complex. So here are your sentences. I want you guys to write them down, work them out at home, and then you can take a picture and send them to my email or the Google Classroom. Or if we have enough time in class, we'll discuss them. I hope this was useful and clear for you guys. Have a nice day. See ya.